So I'm going to speak to you now about the two things that Allah mentioned that distract from the remembrance of Allah: trade and distraction. Distraction, another term you can use for distraction is also entertainment. Lahu can also mean entertainment. Okay. Now, what Allah is teaching us in this ayah is that these two things in this particular incident were the main culprit. They were going through a hard time. Money was a big factor. They had to get their business trade deals done, their groceries bought, or whatever they had to do. And that became a heavy factor for them to walk away from the remembrance of Allah. But not everybody went to the caravan because they were going to do trade. Some people, when you see a bunch of people going somewhere and you see a lot of noise or lights, you're like, what's going on there? So you go also. So the second group of people went for the purpose of entertainment, or they just want to distract themselves, right? So sometimes you have a bazaar, or when you go to the mall on the weekend, right? Not everybody's in the mall shopping. Most people are just walking around without a purpose in the universe. So there's some people that are actually buying stuff, selling stuff, etc. But then a lot of it is just lahu, right? Conventions, trade shows, things like that. There's people that go and actually do business, and other people just say, hey, let's go see what's happening. There's going to be a lot of people there. It's also, in one of the narrations that I didn't share with you, it was also the case that every time there would be a wedding, that the Arabs had a tradition before Islam that they kept even early after Islam, in the early time of the Prophet ﷺ, that the girls, the friends of the girl who's getting married, they would start singing and playing the drum and doing this stuff to celebrate the girl's wedding. It was like a girl's party, and they would do this whole thing on the street, right? And every time that happened, people got attracted to that and wanted to see what's going on, or people were having fun or whatever. It's like a little party going on the street, So that's also part of lahwan. Now, the question that arises from this is entertainment or business a bad thing? Because Allah is putting it against, the remembrance of Allah and leaving the Prophet ﷺ stranded. Our deen gave us a really amazing balance. Allah gave me obligations in my prayers every day. Allah told me certain things are prohibited for me. Allah told me certain things are prohibited for me to eat. Certain ways of earning money are wrong for me. Certain, pleasures or whatever, there's only a halal way to get to them, and all the haram avenues are closed from me. And in every other matter, Allah Azza wa Jalla just, so long as I'm living a purposeful life, there's nothing else expected from me. There's not much more than that expected from me. So, for example, I jokingly asked some of you guys, or some of you gamers, and some of you, mashallah, raised your hand, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It's okay to have some lahu. It's okay to have some entertainment. It's okay to play sports. It's okay to play a video game every once in a while. It's fine. There's nothing. Where does the harm come from? Our religion gave us principles. If you're not violating any of the principles, then you're fine. If your entertainment or your work is taking you away from the mandatory remembrance of Allah, it's taking you away from what you should be doing, then there's the extreme. By the way, there's the opposite extreme too. I'm not doing enough for my deen. I need to study more deen. Okay, well, you haven't spent any time with your wife for 2 months. Yeah, but I'm studying deen right now. Well, you're spending time with your wife is actually a part of your deen. Playing with your kids is a part of your deen. Earning is a part of your deen. Right? Keeping inna li nafsika alayka haqqa. Your own person has rights over you too. Quran even says, "La tansa nasibaka min ad-dunya." Don't forget your own portion in this life. Allah made us appreciate, for example, if I was studying all day and the Quran says, "Wal-habbu dhul asfi wal-rayhan," and the farm and the winds that blow that have beautiful smell in them, how am I going to sit there in the masjid and understand this ayah? In order to appreciate this ayah, what would I have to do? I have to go outside. He says, "Qul siru fil ardi." Go travel in the land. فَانظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَأَ الْخَلْقُ. Take a look, how did creation begin? I can't do that sitting and studying or doing dhikr. I have to go. That's dhikr too. That's why the ayah, the ultimate dhikr of the week is Jumu'ah, and then Allah says, فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Go spread out. وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. So there was this three-dimensional view of the dhikr of Allah. Yes, sometimes lahu, entertainment, is okay in some quantity. But the thing with these things is they easily become addictions. And when they become addictions, you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in them, and you don't know when to stop. Right? And at that point, it's taking you away from the remembrance of Allah. Okay, and that point, it becomes a problem. By the way, some people become workaholics, don't they? They're always thinking business. They're always thinking, oh, gotta open up the next store. They're always thinking, gotta make the more profits, or keeping track of the stock, or whatever else you're doing, Bitcoin or whatever, you know. Anything that immerses you so much that now your basic remembrance of Allah is going away. Your obligations to family are going away. You're not even, you know, your connection to the Quran is disappearing. Then this is where you have to draw a line. So Allah mentioned these two things because these two things are actually so dangerous, so powerful, tijara and lahu, that they can even take someone away from the Prophet standing there. They're that powerful. So don't underestimate them. Deal with these. We have to do business. Entertainment at some level and distraction at some level is a necessity in life, but make sure you understand you're dealing with something that can easily go out of balance, that can easily become very powerful and start replacing the remembrance of Allah. Notice also something, a final quick observation, two observations about the use of these two words in this ayah. Allah mentioned them twice. وَإِذَا رَأَوْا تِجَارَةً أَوْ لَهْوًا انفضوا إليها. First interesting thing is Allah said إليها. Even though there's two things, it would be إليهما. But He said إليها, just one. And the ha is referring back to tijara. Tijara. And some said, oh, because they're all fused together. Another rhetorical purpose of this could be that the lahu, the distraction, is actually emanating from the tijara. In other words, let me put this to you another way. It could be that you're making good money. And because you're making money, now you can afford a PS5. And now you can download the newest game. And you're making good money, and now you can go on that extra vacation. Or now you can buy the tickets to the game. Or now you can... So the more tijara happens, the more room for lahu comes in, right? So the real culprit then becomes, why are you making more money? Are you making more money because you want the more expensive vacation? Are you making more money because you want to distract yourself with, you know, more movies, more games, more whatever? That's the goal from the money. So it's creating more distraction. By the way, distraction isn't just distracting activities. Sometimes it's stuff. You want to buy more stuff. You want to collect more stuff, right? And so the main culprit, tijara, is actually highlighted in that. But also in the incident, the main culprit was the trade caravan, right? More people, the first reason people got up is because they wanted to buy something. Secondarily, people got up and said, hey, some people are getting up. We should get up too. So the tijara group was A and the lahu group was B. But then at the end of the ayah, Allah flipped the equation. He flipped the sequence. He said, قُلْ مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ. Tell them what Allah has in His possession is better. مِنَ اللَّهْوِ وَمِنَ التِّجَارَةِ. What Allah has in His possession is better than entertainment and better than trade. So He flipped it. So in the beginning of the ayah was tijara lahu, and at the end of the ayah it's lahu tijara. What could the reason for that be? This is what we see in the Quran multiple times, a transition from the specific to the universal, the general to the universal. The specific situation was there was a trade caravan that came, and Allah dealt with that. When they saw that trade opportunity, they left you standing there. And of course, Jumu'ah is so serious, nobody's just going to leave Jumu'ah because they want to play a video game. They might leave Jumu'ah because it's a really important business meeting. So the real thing that might pull you away from the Friday prayer is going to be some business situation. But then Allah mentioned in general, universally, if all of human beings were told they should remember Allah and what Allah is offering them is better, then the common denominator among us is not business. The common thing among us is entertainment, actually. That's first. Why? Because not everybody is doing business. Not everybody is working. But everybody is still distracted. Everybody still wants some form of entertainment, right? So lahu is actually the more universal culprit, generally speaking. So Allah says, in general in life, you should remember, tell them what Allah has is better than entertainment and better than business. Now, what is it that Allah has? What's He referring to that Allah has? In this case, anything Allah commands you to do, in this case, Allah wanted me to come to the remembrance of Allah. That remembrance of Allah is building something in me. He's giving me a treasure. So He's actually almost commodifying the dhikr of Allah. Allah didn't say remembering Allah is better than entertainment and trade. Allah is saying what Allah has is better than entertainment and trade. As if to say, when I truly remember Allah, Allah gives me something. Allah gives my heart something. Allah gives my soul something. Allah gives barakah to me in some way. And that thing that Allah gives me, whatever it is, it cannot be named because He gives it in different ways to different people. That's why ma is used. Whatever Allah has, right? He didn't say it's the thawab of the akhirah. He didn't say it's a new job that Allah will get you. He didn't say it's a sickness that Allah will remove from your life. He didn't specify it. But it's something that Allah has. And the only way for you to get it is by the dhikr of Allah. If you can get that, then you will realize that that is better than entertainment and that's better than trade. And Allah is the best of ar-raziqeen. I'll tell you quickly about the word rizq. Really cool. That's a creepy photo, but still it helps us understand what rizq is. It's a bird feeding its child. They get the worm, the bug or whatever, and they put it, most birds, they put it in the mouth of their child, or they actually stick it all the way into the throat of their child and then let go. That's how they feed their young. And now let me tell you why I'm using this picture. مَا يَصِلُ إِلَى الْجَوْفِ وَيُتَعَذَّى بِهِ. Rizq in Arabic means whatever reaches the belly and whatever nurtures you, whatever nourishes you. You can eat something and throw it up, it's not rizq. But if you eat something and it gives you energy, it nurtures you, it feeds your body, that's called rizq. وَرَزَقَ الطَّائِرُ فَرَخَهُ كَسَبَ لَهُ مَا يَغْذُوهُ وَالطَّائِرُ يَزُقُّ فِرَاخَهُ أي يدخل بمنقاره الطعام في مناقيرها ثم يطلق على ما يحيط الله العبد من مال وخير يطعم وينتفع به. إدخال في الحوزة. Let me tell you what this means. Actually, the Arabs used to use the word rizq to describe the bird putting the food in the mouth of its child. That's how they describe rizq, meaning that which helps the child survive, which provides and nourishes the child. And from it, it started getting used for anything that you place within you, meaning the thing that you store, because the child is storing it in its belly. So anything that you consume, anything that you store becomes rizq. Anything that becomes a part of your life becomes rizq. That enhances your life in some way. So what is rizq then? In its broadest sense, it's actually food is rizq, clothes are rizq, because they are enhancing me in some way, they're nourishing me in some way. Your home is rizq, your car is rizq, your friends are rizq, family members are rizq. I know, that's crazy. Not all of them. Some of them are fisq, other ones are rizq. Your teachers can be rizq, right? The opportunities that come in your life, maybe it is the experiences you have that benefited you, that strengthened you, that nurtured you. Even bad things that happened in your life can actually become rizq, because by way of them you became stronger in some way. Allah is the best of those who can give rizq. But why mention ar-raziqeen, the plural? Why even mention that? Allah could have said wallahu huwa ar-raziq. Allah is the provider. When Allah says wallahu khayru ar-raziqeen, Allah is the best of those who can provide. Why even mention others who can provide? There's a necessary call to comparison in this ayah. I start thinking my employer provides. I start thinking my parents provide. I start thinking my culture provides. My culture provides protection. My family provides dignity. My job provides money. My society provides this. My government provides that. We start thinking provision comes from different places. And the more you think of these, then you start making, you want to make sure you don't hurt any sources of income, right? So if you're, for example, let me give you a social media example because we can relate to that easily. If your money comes from your social media following and you're monetizing your content or whatever, then you know who your raziq is in your head? Your followers are your raziq. Okay, the ad revenue is your raziq. So now you're going to make sure you don't mess with anything that can hurt your following. Right? So you'll make sure not to offend your following in any way, because it will directly impact your rizq. If your job provides your paycheck, you will make sure you will do nothing to put your job in danger, because your job is, in your mind, your raziq. So when you identify a raziq, then you don't mess with it. You make sure, and if anybody's coming close to it, you say, hey, no, don't touch that. Don't touch that. Like, for example, if your job is you're a techie, right? You're a contractor and you're a coder or whatever, and you have your laptop and you work on your laptop. When your kids come close to your laptop with a bottle of chocolate milk, in that moment, that's not your child. That is public enemy number one. You get away from this. You can cry. I'll hug you later, but right now, this is my rizq right here. This is, in a sense, this is my raziq right now. You're not going to mess with my rizq. Okay? And then later on, you could be the child. Then you go, no, sorry, it's okay. Okay? There are some things you just don't mess with it. You don't touch it because it's a matter of rizq. Same way what happens in families is, you could be running a business and your family can have an opinion on everything. But the moment they try to tell you how to run your business, excuse me, wait, this is not for you. Step off. I don't care who you are. You're not touching this. I love you in every other way. Not in this. You don't exist. You're zero. Okay, you're fired. Why? Because people, they want to protect their risk. If you have that mentality, this is a very easily understandable phenomenon, right? And if risk is an opportunity and you don't want to miss the opportunity, nothing will get in your way from missing that opportunity. If you have a job interview and you have to get to that job interview, it's starting at 9 a.m. and you have to leave your house at 8 a.m. And then your sister calls, your mother calls, your friend calls and says, I want to talk to you about my feelings right now. You can talk to me while I'm on the road. No, I need to talk to you in person. No, I have a job interview. No, forget your job interview. No, I will talk to you after. I'll say sorry. Do it first and say sorry later. I got to go. I'm going to do this job interview. I can't be with you right now. I can't talk to you right now. Isn't that the case? You're not going to let anything get in the way. When Allah calls Himself Khairul Raziqeen, you know what that means? If Allah is my provider, just like if anything else I think is my provider, nothing gets in the way. Nothing gets in the way. Then if Allah is my provider and He says, what I have is better than anything else, you know what that means? That means messing with Jumu'ah is messing with my Raziq. If I mess with Jumu'ah, I'm messing with my Raziq. If I'm messing with the dhikr of Allah, I'm messing with my Raziq. I'm messing up my own rizq by compromising the remembrance of Allah. What a way to end the surah. Wallahu khairul raziqeen. Allah, everything in the skies and the earth, when we started the surah, everything in the skies and the earth is doing tasbih of Allah. And by the way, everything is being provided for by Allah. And the only ones who don't do tasbih of Allah are human beings, the way they should. And now Allah says, by the way, I'm providing you, but if you really want me to provide you, you better get in line with the rest of the universe. You better do your version of this. What tasbih is expected from you. The tasbih expected from the sun is constant, never-ending tasbih. The tasbih expected from the moon is constant, never-ending tasbih. The tasbih expected from you is on particular times. Very little is being asked of you. And of those tasbihat, the biggest tasbih of the week is the Friday prayer. Don't mess with it. Wallahu khairul raziqeen. This is just some speech you're attending. So this is how Allah Azza wa Jal ties the lessons of this surah together. So now I'm going to share with you what we learned in this section 3. I walked you through the structure of section 1 and section 2. So we're the final section, section 3, right? So we see إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمُعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. When the call is made for Friday prayer, rush to the remembrance of Allah and leave the sale. We covered that. Then ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. That is better for you if you actually know. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ. When the salah is done, what should you do? فَانْتَشِرُوا. Go out, spread out. وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. Seek Allah's favor. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Remember Allah a lot. And if you can do these things, what's going to happen? لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. So that you may succeed. That's the formula Allah gave. Then He says, وَإِذَا رَأَوْا تِجَارَةً أَوْ لَهْوًا انْفَضُّوا إِلَيْهَا وَتَرَكُوكَ قَائِمًا. When they saw trade and distraction, they ran off to it. They broke off from the Friday prayer and they left you standing, leaving you standing. قُلْ مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ مِنَ اللَّهْوِ وَمِنَ التِّجَارَةِ. Tell them what Allah has is better than distraction and better than trade. وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الرَّازِقِينَ. And Allah is the best provider. This is the final section of the surah. Let's go through that again. When the call is made, leave and rush to the remembrance of Allah. On the flip side, when the call was made, they ran off and left you standing. So you should be leaving business, but what you did was you left the Prophet. You see that? So, and then the second thing was, ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. That is better for you, if you know. And then we see what Allah has is better. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ And قُلْ مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ مِنَ اللَّهْوِ وَمِنَ التِّجَارَةِ. Then he said, go out, seek His favor, remember Allah. Go out and do what? What did I say? Go out and do what? Business. Go earn rizq. And Allah ends the surah by saying Allah is the best of providers. Allahu khairur raziqeen. SubhanAllah. You see how beautifully things are organized? How everything ties together? You know, and this is our section 3. Now, just so you have a picture. Now, we did section 1, we did section 2, we did section 3. Now, let's look at the whole thing together. Everything does tasbih. I'm summarizing. This is not a capturing of all the messages of the first section, but some main things. Everything does tasbih. The favor on the ummah, meaning Allah has done a huge favor on the ummah by sending the messenger who purifies them. And, you know, go on, reads the ayat, purifies them, teaches them the law, teaches them wisdom. Summarizing here, okay? Then, we should learn from the example of those who failed their book. What am I talking about here? Banu Israel, right? That was the middle section. And then the final section was, don't take the Friday remembrance lightly. Don't allow anything to abandon your messenger. Isn't it? Now notice in the first section was tasbih, and in the last section there's dhikr. What's one of the best forms of dhikr? Tasbih. And then the first section said the messenger has done you a huge favor. Allah has done you a huge favor by sending you a messenger. So you shouldn't be the ones to leave your messenger standing in the last section. You see the connection between those two? And then in the middle is the example of those who failed their book. So even the surah as a whole kind of forms a symmetrical kind of structure. Okay? So this brings me to the end of what I wanted to share with you in terms of the lessons from Surah Al-Jumu'ah.